All right, Marshall and NC State. We've got NC State 6.5-point home favorites, 45 being the total in this game. Laying points with NC State. That's an interesting proposition, to put it mildly, with what we have seen this year. Very disappointing season so far for Dave Doran and company. Although I was disappointed we couldn't get at least another point from Louisville. Margin of victory last week as I get a push with Louisville -3. I'll tell you what, the defense was a little bit better last week. I mean, they frustrated Louisville for a large part of that team, but the offense continues to be a big-time issue here for NC State. It just hasn't been that return of the magic we saw at Virginia between Robert and I, offensive coordinator, and Brennan Armstrong. They just have not been able to recapture that magic and that chemistry they had in Virginia a couple years ago. And I'm looking at the depth chart here for NC State, and I was wondering, as much as he's got the experience and it's his offensive coordinator from Virginia, and they were great there, is there going to come a point where Dave Doran makes a quarterback change? Because clearly Brennan Armstrong's not playing well enough.
I hear it.
Change.
Albano. Yeah, I just see it here.
MJ Morris. MJ Morris is going to be the starting quarterback, taking over, announced by Dave Doran, promoted to the starter following another disappointing performance from Brennan Armstrong and the offense. So MJ Morris will be a quarterback against Marshall. This is a guy that got into 5 games last year for NC State. He started some games last year for NC State, if you'll remember, back when Devin Leary was injured last season for the Wolfpack. And last year he had a 52 for 86 completion rate, 60.5% completions, 648 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception, man. That's a really good touchdown to interception ratio for MJ Morris when he was the starting quarterback for NC State last year. So, I only noticed and I only recognized the quarterback change after I had seen the initial move in the line up from 6 to 6.5. Like, they're really betting NC State. And then I saw, they changed quarterbacks. And then I looked at Morris's stats from last year. 60% completions, almost 700 passing yards in 5 games, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception, took care of the football. I mean, so now it makes a little more sense why people are a little more bullish now on NC State. Marshall, meanwhile, look, their defense has been terrific most of the season, but you played Albany, you played East Carolina, you played Virginia Tech. Is this defense truly great, or did they feast on a bunch of weak, anemic offenses, early in the season? You have to ask yourself that. And when you look at Marshall here, they played Old Dominion last week and they got gashed, albeit they survived a 41-35 win, but by far the worst defensive performance they've had. They let Kadarius Callaway just go wild running the football for ODU against them. Cam Fancher at quarterback for Marshall, dual threat, can throw, can run. His numbers on the year pretty solid overall here for Marshall this year. 70.4% completions, good completion rate. Does have to cut down on the interceptions, though. 4 touchdowns and the same amount of interceptions as well for Fancher going into this game. I'm going to be proactive here and say, let's go over the total with Marshall and NC State. Total's only 45, 45.5, 46 in some spots. You got a Marshall team that offensively, it's been solid this year, 41, 24, 31 in their last 3 games. We know NC State's a little bit down on defense, but this is buying low on the quarterback change for the NC State offense with MJ Morris, which it can only be an upgrade. It can only be an improvement as far as I'm concerned with the NC State offense, because it just was not working with Brennan Armstrong in the first few games. So let's buy in on the quarterback change, that maybe it's a spark for the NC State offense. And again, the Marshall defensive numbers overall still look pretty good, but this was a Marshall defense that faced, like I say, Albany, East Carolina. These are some horrible offenses that they feasted on Marshall. And then they faced Old Dominion last week, and they gave up 35 points, and they ran all over them in that football game. And by the way, if you look at NC State's offensive numbers this season, we'll see how they fare here in this one. But they are not a great rushing team, but they're going to be able to run it here, I think, against Marshall a little bit here in this game. And I think they want to. And MJ Morris is more of a mobile quarterback. So I think the run element of this offense is going to become even more predominant for NC State now with MJ Morris at quarterback. So I'm going to be proactive here. Over the total for me, Marshall and NC State. That Marshall's defensive numbers are phony. because they played a bunch of cupcake offenses early in the year, Albany, East Carolina, Virginia Tech. And again, I think NC State gets a boost offensively here from the quarterback change. And like I say, Fancher and the Marshall offense, I think, can score enough here as well. Their offense has been pretty solid. So I'm going to go over a low total. Conor's back. What do you think here, Conor? Marshall, NC State.
Marshall, just going back to last year, it just like keeps winning. I think they've won 9 in a row. I thought last week, though, they were exposed. I wish I had a lot more money. It kind of was a late play. I thought Old Dominion. That's the third time I took ODU, and they covered.
I was on them too. Yep.
Were you? Yeah. I thought it was a ton of points, but 339 they ran on it. That's if Marshall gives up that here, then NC State. And I like the move to Morris. It's about time. I think they were holding on there, trying to make it work with Armstrong. So I think I love the move to him. I lean to lay it. Marshall is just, they've got all these decent wins, going back to last year, App State, Virginia Tech. But I kind of lean to lay the touchdown here with NC State.
Yeah, and to me, I love these spots where you've got an offense that can't get out of their own way, stuck in mud. Nobody wants anything to do with probably NC State or an under in this game because of it. But now they make the quarterback change, and I like that because and who knows if it's going to work all season with MJ Morris, but oftentimes, at least for that one game, that first game, you're going to see a spark. You're going to see, some pop in that offense, and I think we're going to see that here from NC State.
It's good it's at home, too.
A proactive approach to this game for me.
Yeah, I like that they do it, good at home.
Yeah.
Here, he's not going on the road in a tough spot.
Exactly, home game as well. That certainly doesn't hurt either.